What's up, everybody? Welcome to the podcast now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about the map size for Gotham Knights. So, I've been asked about this quite a bit. We talked about, I think, leading into what Gotham Knights would have been when we didn't know. I believe I talked about what kind of how would we want to explore this map, how big in comparison to the Arkham games, and then obviously when we all went on our treasure hunt for that week leading into DC Fandom, which again, as I always say, was actually quite a bit of fun looking back on it. The map was actually a really major part, and they haven't addressed it whatsoever. I do think it'll be something that they address very heavily as when we eventually do get closer. I think it's something we really start to focus on, because obviously we got to see a little bit of gameplay, but again, the map was a big part, and the idea of, well, maybe Talons controls certain areas of it, and can we take them over, and then can they be taken back over by them? There's a lot of possibility there, right? So the map, I think, is going to be a hot topic, and I also think a map for any game, honestly, I'd say for the most part, I guess, for games that have maps, are big deals, right? We're getting Dying Light 2 information over the last couple of weeks, and the map has been a really big focus in that it's double the size of the original game. So that's what I want to talk about for Gotham Knights. How big will the map be? Maybe, again, some traversal ways of getting around it, and some expectations, I guess, for the map overall. Again, quite a few people have asked me for this, so as always, thank you to anybody who's ever asked for anything. If you want different kinds of Gotham Knights videos or me talking about something specific, definitely let me know in the comments. And while we're there, if you guys have not yet already, make sure you're subscribed. We're pushing very hard for 50,000 subscribers, and we're definitely getting there. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when all these videos go up, and leave the video a like if you guys did actually like it. Helps YouTube push these videos much more than they would if you don't. You can leave a dislike too if you hate me. That is totally cool as well, but it helps engagement. All right, so when it comes to maps, and I've said this before, I think I've said this for Hogwarts Legacy, I'm pretty sure I said this for this game as we were leading into it. Bigger does not always mean better, right? And that's something that's my opinion, and it's for the simple reason that when you increase the size of the map, you are not immediately making it better. So it sounds really easy to just say, well, let's just increase the map size from Arkham Knight. Obviously, you have to populate it, and maybe the first thing you think of when you think of population is towers and buildings and, I guess, people on the streets and stuff like that. But if you think about it, it really does have to have a reason for being there, and it can't feel empty. Now, one thing that I think the Arkham games have always done pretty well is, while they have made a point to literally get everybody out of the city every single time, no matter what, right? They've also done a really good job of still making it seem like there's always things happening. I do look to I like Arkham City in terms of you can very clearly tell the factions that are controlling different areas, and they all look very unique. I do love that, and I think there's a good way of blending that, and I do think that could potentially be in Gotham Knights, but more so when missions are active, then you maybe see where the villains are controlling it, maybe not when you're doing an active mission though, right? So I think you can use that, but I really look to Arkham Knight as the best way of doing it, because again, while they they kick everybody in the pants into a bus and out of Gotham, the city still does feel like there's stuff going on. There's still criminals just running around. There's a lot of, obviously, driving is a big part of I'm gonna mix up Gotham Knights and then Arkham Knight, but driving is a really big part of it. So I have always said it, I love open worlds that feel livable, that feel like when I'm not there are things happening. And I do feel like in Arkham Knight specifically, if you don't handle a crime, you feel like it's still happening. You feel like things are still going on. Or when you hear them through your radio or whatever, right? They're there. You can go there and obviously interact in terms of taking them out, but you don't have to. But you'll kind of get the sense, because of they do a good job of world building in that's still happening. You know what I mean? So for Gotham Knights, when we talk about the map, when we talk about how big the map would be, that's something that's important. I would honestly take a map the same size as Arkham Knight. Now, I remember when the map came out, people were trying to do a little bit of detective work on it, and I feel like the answer to the question is going to be, it probably will be bigger than Arkham Knight's map, which I feel like is the biggest that we've ever had in any Arkham game or any Batman game, right? So I feel like the answer is going to be a pretty easy. Gotham Knights will be the biggest one. Again, bigger does not always mean better, because then you have to say, okay, well, how do we get from point A to point B, and that's where vehicles come in. That's where grappling and gliding and stuff like that, which, people have asked me how I think everybody's going to get around. It's going to be interesting because I think we have gone over vehicles that are attached to them. Most of them, I believe all of them but Red Hood, all are very much connected to like a motorcycle. Like they've all had it before in different comics and stuff. But so like I feel like they all could have the exact, like if they wanted to put even Red Hood on it, they could do all one vehicle. So if they really just love that basically the motorcycle that Batgirl's in the gameplay, they could just use that, and then you can maybe have ways of, Robin maybe can just literally teleport, Nightwing and Red Hood. See, it's gonna be hard for somebody like Red Hood too. Like how exactly does he get around on foot? So that's something that I honestly, like, I like the ideas that you guys have always said to me, and I know you guys always ask me to talk about it. I flat out don't know. Like, that's a big reason why I want to see Nightwing and Red Hood, just so we can see how they kind of move around and interact. They'll probably be fighting for most of it, right? Or I guess they're doing something, right? But maybe not traversing the world. So that'll be something that we'll have to kind of piece together before the game comes out. But yeah, I mean, the bigger the world is, obviously, the more you're going to rely on how you get from point A to point B. Again, whether it's a vehicle or whether it's on foot. And then it's, again, how you populate it. So that's, to me, again, that's the most important thing. The most important thing to me. If the map is going to be bigger than Arkham Knight, or even if it's literally the exact same size, if it's 1-to-1, it still needs to feel big. And I think with the villains having like and villains, I guess I mean like criminals in this way, like the lower level thugs, like having the levels and stuff like that, I do feel like there is going to be a sense that they're always around. I think especially as we continue to go up there in generations and technology and stuff, it should be easier, or it should be more like just commonplace that they do fill the world with more things. Now, I guess, again, just because you fill it with like the same way I say about, making the world bigger doesn't immediately make it better. Just adding people into the world doesn't also immediately make the world feel like it's more lived in, right? However, it may, like for Cyberpunk, I was so looking forward to how they could do that. There's just flat out not nearly as many NPCs walking around, especially obviously early on when the game came out, than when they showed us at like E3s. There'd be like 5 times the amount of people that they had, and then they took, again, like 4/5 of them out of the way. So that's going to be something to me that's pretty darn important. And then again, like you have talents that we still don't know. Maybe they're not. Maybe they're not actually populated throughout the city. I think they probably will be. You'll have the villain wheel. So I do think there'll be quite a bit to do, when we talked about the idea of like maybe Riddler trophies, or if you don't do that, some form of collectibles or some way of exploration in a way of like critical looking. I don't even know. That's not even the greatest way of saying it. But if you don't do Riddler trophies, which obviously is a lot of solving things, but interacting with things in like a unique way, although, they haven't done Riddler the best in these games, if you don't have that, I think you still need to replace it with something else to keep you moving around and doing stuff in the world, right? Besides the villains, besides stuff like that. So I do think the world is going to be pretty massive. I really do. I think, again, I think it's probably pretty likely that it'll be bigger than the Arkham Knight world. And then to me, the biggest thing is just how do you fill it? How do you make it feel like we're constantly doing things and not like we're forced to do things, but that it's very organic. Again, I love the way in Arkham Knight, I mean, you got the villains, you got like the mission wheel, all that stuff, but things will just happen. You can completely let them go. And again, like they don't have any real ramifications to you or the story, but you feel like they're actually like there is a crime going on and you can do something about it or you cannot. And yeah, again, like it's not going to really actually, like there's no morality system in the world, so it's not going to actually impact you. Now there's like the Nemesis system, and do they use that? I don't think they will. Otherwise they would have probably already said that, okay? But that would have been a really cool thing, and that would have been more of a system where people remember you and people are doing things, and you actually know who they are. They actually know who you are. I love that idea. I love that system. I want it implemented in almost every single game, to be quite honest with you. And for some reason, it's like only specific to the Middle Earth games. So let me know, guys, in the comments below. What do you think? How big should the map be? If it is big or if it's small, whichever way it is, how do you think we'd get around? What do you think they do to make it feel alive? Let me know. As always, make sure, again, you guys, if you haven't already, you're subscribed, bell icon turned on. I'm going to start doing these. This is kind of the first or second video I've done of it like this every week, once a week, maybe every Wednesday, but definitely at least at one time every week. And obviously, if there's new stuff that comes out on it, we'll cover it immediately. I will be talking about it in regards to E3. We'll probably do that next week or maybe the week after. So there's definitely more videos coming. And then if it's at E3, we'll definitely have much more to talk about there, okay? Thank you for watching, guys, and I'll see you all on the next video.